Okay, this evening, a friend of mine has bought me this Eddystone EA12 communications receiver. He sent me a message a couple of months ago saying that he'd found this when he was clearing some stuff out and wanted to know if I was interested. And he popped it around this evening. Thank him very much for doing that. It's very thoughtful, very kind of him to sort of save all these bits and pieces for me. This is a bit of a special radio. This is the Eddystone, as I say, EA12, circa 1956, communications receiver. Eddystone were a company in north of England, from Birmingham or the Midlands. It's a professional piece of kit. It's double conversion. Has full coverage from, it looks like, 2.4 megs all the way up to 30 megs in 9 bands, so it's got a nice precise control. You see this heavily geared tuning on it. Beat frequency oscillator. It's got selectable IF bandwidths. It's, as I say, double conversion. It's got a slot filter, which is, I think, just a very fine tuning to the IF frequency. I'm not entirely sure about that. It's got crystal calibrators in it as well. It's I think the second conversion of the IF runs through a crystal conversion. It's pretty filthy at the moment, and I just wanted to leave it like this, basically for my own records, just so that I remember what it looked like when I started off. Now, we've no idea if this thing works. I've done an isolation check on it and it all looks relatively okay. So what I'm going to do, and bear in mind, if it's a communications receiver, it should be a fairly robust piece of kit. All the tubes and all the valves should be sort of pinned in place. They should be absolutely fine. So I'm going to do an initial power up on it just to see if it draws any excess current, and see if I get any signs of life at all. And then I'll proceed by taking the back off it, having a look inside, seeing what state the components are in, just make sure it's all there basically. So this is just going to be initial power up to see if it does anything at all, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to start with, I assume this is the band change switch. So AF gain, which is volume, turn that to about halfway. We're going to continuous way at amplitude modulation, selectivity for AM. There's a big old clunking switch in there that's switching over. Now this is a standby switch. Basically, a standby switch allows you to turn the mains on and let the valves warm up, and then you turn the HT on, and then you've got radio accessible straight away because the valves are already heated up. Also got adjustable automatic gain control, or the Americans call it AVC control, which is probably response fast and slow, and you can actually turn it off as well by the looks of it. So let's power it up, keeping an eye on the ammeter just to make sure it doesn't draw any excessive current or anything, and see what we get. It's 100 volts. See the dim glow of the lights inside. Just give it a little while to warm up, settle down. I don't think it's been stored in a damp place. I don't want to stick full mains on this straight away if the caps are going to fail. Just give it a couple of minutes at that voltage just to see how we get on. I don't expect to hear anything until I get it to at least 200 volts, so I'm not waiting for any sound or anything. It's actually in pretty reasonable cosmetic condition. The side of the lids, the bezel's all scraped up, but that can probably get that resprayed. The front panel doesn't look too bad. There's a few chips and things out of the controls, the tuning control and things, but basically I think it's in pretty good nick. A lot of muck behind the back of the dial there, but I'll just take the dial off and adjust it. It looks like an additional button being added there by someone. I'm not sure if that's a aftermarket thing or not, but I don't know what that does. I have downloaded a manual, but I haven't actually gone through it yet to see what it says. Okay, let's increase to 180 volts. The display's coming up quite brightly now. Just waiting to see if we hear anything. Turn the air conditioning unit off so got a crackle from the speaker. Try it. Let's go to band 1. Ready to get maximum IF gain. Straight away that sounds like the front end's working. Okay, that's a good sign. So just turn the volume down a second and connect an aerial up. Where does the aerial plug in? Must be that 75 ohm. Stick that in there. Keep an eye on that current consumption's gone up slightly, 150 milliamps or so. Well, it's a fine old control, but there is definitely doing something. AFC on, got the AFC, so we've now. The only reason why the meter's working with the AGC is because it measures the AGC voltage. You see it's stuck up actually, so it doesn't look like it's. Peak RF, that must be an aerial tuner by the sounds of it. You can hear the sensitivity going in and out. It's not actually tuning anything, and I'm starting to wonder if the local oscillator is running. Let's try another band. Just realised, band 1, I'm at 20, band 1 is at 30 megs, so let's go back down to a sensible band. I won't pick up anything here anyway, so go back to band 9. Okay, what I might have to do is use the signal generator to confirm. Bring the mains up a bit higher. Not a lot of sign of life at the moment. There is audio, but okay, so it's not totally dead, but it's obviously clearly not working. Let's go to 5505 just to see what bands will it do. It looks like it only does the amateur bands. So let's go to band 7. Okay, we've got something. Not quite at full mains yet. I'm going to give it a little bit of time to settle down. Let's go to 7 megs on band 7 then. Let's go to continuous wave. So the set's clearly working. It seems to be quite down on sensitivity, but pretty impressive really. Current consumption is higher than I was expecting. It's drawing, I suppose, 100 watts or so. It's probably what you'd expect really, isn't it, for a, I think it's a 12 valve set. Let's increase it to full mains now. 240 volts. Display's nice and it's in the sidebound transmission. Sounds like everything's working correctly. Trying to receive a single sideband. So the set's clearly working. I'm going to take it apart next. I think for this first video this is proving the point. We'll take it apart, have a look inside, see what condition all the components are in, and then we'll probably have to do a full alignment on it. I'll take all the glass out and clean it, but first signs is great. It seems to work fine. You know, there's obviously no problem with the transformers or any of the other problems like that. So we'll whip it apart, whip the top off it. I'll show you that in the second video. Thanks.